In case you're wondering, yes, there is Chinese and Russian propaganda on almost every single social media app, especially Chinese propaganda on this app. There is American propaganda as well, but there's also even more than that. There is a Chinese lobby in the United States Congress, and there's a Russian lobby in the United States Congress. You have figures such as Tucker Carlson, which are very clearly bought by Russia, and figures such as Ted Cruz, who is very clearly bought by Israel. At the same time, the United States doesn't necessarily reciprocate this power. There isn't an American lobby in the National People's Congress of the People's Republic of China. There isn't really an American lobby in the Russian Federation either. Most of this is taken from Michael McFaul's book Autocrats versus Democrats: China, Russia, America, and the New Global Disorder. Michael McFaul was the former ambassador to Russia under the Obama administration. He served as ambassador from 2012 to 2014. And this book is pretty helpful if you're trying to gain a grasp of understanding as to what is going on in the world, as in what is China trying to do, what is Russia trying to do, and consequently, what is the United States trying to do. The first 100 or so pages basically outline the relationship between the United States and China and the relationship between the United States and Russia over the past 100 years, which is a great baseline towards understanding what the world is like today. But also, it highlights differences between Russian and Chinese propaganda. Chinese propaganda, for instance, is more about simply collaboration through any means necessary. For instance, if you disagree ideologically with someone, well, China will still work with you if you're willing to collaborate economically. China also doesn't really seem to be very interested in spreading the government worldwide beyond, well, the Republic of China, that is Taiwan. Russian propaganda, however, is much different in nature. In contrast to Chinese propaganda, Russian propaganda is much more about spreading ideology, but also undermining truth so people have difficulty discerning reality. It says here, another aim of Putin's global ideological mission is to weaken the very idea of truth. Russian agents in the broadcast and digital space frequently do not try to win an argument, but instead promote the idea that there is no objective truth or independent facts. Everything is relative. This ideological campaign against truth contrasts with Moscow's Cold War ideological agenda, when Soviet propagandists pushed a positive agenda about the benefits of communism. Putin's propagandists focus on a negative and deliberately confusing message that every idea, person, and country is bad, or at least no better than anything, anyone, or anywhere else. Whataboutism is frequently deployed. As American historian Anne Applebaum observed about autocrats worldwide today, including in Russia, they don't offer their fellow citizens a vision of utopia, and they don't inspire them to build a better world. Instead, they teach people to be cynical and passive because there is no better world to build. It's so interesting because I hear it all the time in online discourse. I will say, well, Trump did this and this is bad. And people will say, well, Bill Clinton did this too, or Biden did this too. And my general response is, that doesn't make Trump any less guilty. Throw them all into jail, right? And what's also interesting is that what Putin is trying to do is that he's trying to broadcast a message that democracy is a bad idea, liberalism is a bad idea, neoliberalism is a bad idea. And therefore, because liberalism and democracy leads to mob rule or wokeness and that sort of thing, the solution, in order to protect conservative values, is to have an autocracy, which is something that he has been gradually justifying through either the Russian Orthodox Church or through gradually making it more and more difficult to challenge him in elections. The book also warns intently about democratic backsliding, in which countries gradually become less of a democracy by voting away personal freedoms and giving more and more power to a centralized authority. Famous examples including Russia no longer having legitimate elections since about 2012, with Putin eliminating term limits for himself, Xi Jinping also eliminating term limits for himself in the People's Republic of China, and other countries too, such as Viktor Orban's Hungary, Brazil, or Bukele's El Salvador. McFaul argues that the same thing is happening in the United States, and that the president is trying to gradually push the United States towards an autocracy so that he can seize more power for himself and to avoid repercussions for his crimes. Overall, it's a really good book, Autocrats versus Democrats. It's really interesting if you're trying to understand the world around you and to try to make sense from all the noise that you hear every single day.